Good morning. It's Friday, January 9th. Here's what we're working on. A shelter-in-place order is currently in effect in 6 nations of the Grand River due to an active investigation.
31 Ontario schools have achieved a perfect score in the Fraser Institute's elementary school ranking.
Tavares has it with Cowan. John Tavares works in, feeds it back. Cowan shoots, scores!
And the Maple Leafs score in overtime to take down the Flyers. Good morning and happy Friday. TGIF. Oh, it feels good.
This week has flown by.
It has.
Sometimes they just do.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's nice when they fly by in January and February.
Yes.
Let's get a little
Although
closer.
it does not feel like January today.
No.
Or yesterday. It felt like spring yesterday.
It did, didn't it? That sun almost had a little bit of warmth to it. It was so lovely. Yeah, we had the sun yesterday, and we got to 8 degrees yesterday, so we got to a degree above our forecast high. We'll take it. We'll take it. Thank you very much. But this morning, actually right now we're sitting at 7 degrees to start the day, but we were at 10 degrees this morning at 4 o'clock, so our temperature has dipped. But wait, we're going to see 14 degrees for the day today. Now, if we get to 14, that'll be a record breaker for today. Record's around 13.2. So 14 degrees today, but we are looking for rain this morning. There could even be a thunderstorm this morning with this frontal boundary going through, giving us all the rain. And then we're going to see some clearing later on. But the problem today is going to be the wind. We have special weather statements in effect for a lot of southern Ontario, and wind warning in effect for the Niagara Peninsula. Could have winds 90 to 100 kilometers an hour there. For the rest of us, anywhere from 70 to 90 kilometers an hour as that cold front goes through, and then it's going to get chillier overnight tonight. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. Checking traffic. It's Friday. Volume should be lighter, and there's nothing happening here. The 403 and Waterdown Road, that looks good. Check a few MTO traffic cameras as usual. Here's the Red Hill Creek camera. So on this shot, Toronto bound is heading away from us toward the Skyway. There's the top of the Skyway. That's a look at third line. Whoops, that's freezing a little bit there, but as you can see, it's pretty good this morning. But wet roads, so get your headlights on, and of course you have to, but even when it's light out and your windshield wipers are going, make sure your headlights are on. So we'll look at weather and traffic coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Thank you, Brian. We're following developing news this morning. OPP and 6 Nations Police have issued a shelter in place in 6 nations of the Grand River for an active investigation. This all happened at around 4:30 this morning, and police say there is an incident involving 2 people who may be armed. You're being asked to stay indoors with your doors and windows locked if you're in the area of Second Line, Mississauga Road, and Indian Line Road between Highway 6 and the New Credit Road. Anyone outside is asked to seek shelter. We'll provide more updates once they become available this morning.
A 15-year-old is missing in Oakville. Halton police say Jamim Nam was last seen around 6 last night near Upper Middle Road and Joshua Creek Drive in Oakville. He's 5'9" with a thin build and black hair. He wears glasses and last night was dressed all in black.
You're curious to know how your child's school compares to other schools in the province? Well, the Fraser Institute has released its annual report cards this week, giving a glimpse into those results. Over 3,000 public, Catholic, and private elementary schools were among those ranked based on EQAO test scores. 31 schools got a perfect 10 out of 10 score, including 8 in our area. The think tank says the results suggest schools can improve no matter their location, type, or school characteristics. The report notes Burley Hill, a public school in St. Catharines, is one of the fastest improving schools, rising from a score of 4.5 in 2018 to 9.9 in 2024.
Now from education to healthcare in Niagara. In the middle of flu season, Niagara Health says there is added strain on its healthcare facilities. Wait times in Niagara emergency rooms are already around an hour longer than the Ontario average, about 3 hours on a regular day. With more cases of respiratory illness this time of year, wait times are now closer to 4 hours. And Niagara Health says in the last few weeks, their hospitals have hit occupancy rates of 116%.
we come into spring, we should see an improvement, but right now this is peak occupancy inside the hospital, which means peak occupancy in the emergency department.
Local advocates are also concerned the problem is going to get worse, with Niagara Health recently announcing a plan to redeploy close to 100 administrative hospital workers amid budget shortfalls. Fort Erie and Port Colborne's urgent care centers are also operating at reduced hours.
Iran's supreme leader blasted protesters in a speech this morning that aired on state-run media. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says protesters are ruining their own streets to make the president of another country happy, referring to U.S. President Donald Trump. Iran's exiled crown prince added his voice to the demonstrations in the country. This all comes after Iran's leadership cut the nation off from the internet and international telephone calls. Tehran says it blames terrorist agents of the U.S. for the protests and that Israel has set fires and sparked violence. 45 people are reported to have died since the start of the protests on December 28th.
Russia says it's used a new ballistic missile capable of reaching speeds of Mach 10, along with other weapons, in a massive strike on Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say 4 people were killed and at least 22 wounded in Kyiv overnight. Russia hasn't said where its new missile hit, but Russian media and military bloggers say it targeted a huge underground natural gas storage facility in the western Lviv region. Russia's defense ministry says the attack is in retaliation to what Russia has said was a Ukrainian drone strike on President Vladimir Putin's residence last month. Ukraine and U.S. President Donald Trump have rejected that claim.
2 people are recovering after being shot by federal agents in Portland, Oregon. Yesterday's incident came a day after a Minneapolis woman was fatally shot by ICE agents. Police say the victims, a man and a woman, were hospitalized with no immediate word on their conditions. The FBI confirmed the shooting involved Customs and Border Protection agents as they attempted to stop a car with a suspected gang member. Officials say during the stop, the vehicle began to drive away and struck an agent, after which shots were then fired at the vehicle. Portland's mayor has called on all ICE agents to leave the city until a full investigation is completed.
Indigenous Services Canada says the evacuation of 500 vulnerable people from a remote First Nation in Northern Ontario is going to happen as early as possible. Gashechuan First Nation is a fly-in community of about 2,200 people on the western shore of James Bay. The evacuation's been triggered by failures in the community's water supply and sewage system. It has created an urgent public health and safety issue. Priority evacuees will be taken to Timmins and Kapuskasing. Plans to relocate the rest of the community are being worked out. All this as rail service is coming back between northern and southern Ontario. The Northlander is going to span 740 kilometres with 16 stops between Timmins and Toronto and a connection to Cochrane. It's expected to be up and running again this spring after the line was cancelled in 2012. The rail service is part of the Ontario government's initiative to connect northern communities, which it says will create jobs, support local industries, and drive economic growth. Firefighters say a house fire in Ottawa was sparked by an unusual culprit, a dog chewing on a heated ski glove. The Ottawa Fire Department says the family's dog grabbed a glove that's equipped with a lithium-ion battery and chewed on it on a couch until the battery ignited. The incident was caught on the homeowner's indoor surveillance camera, with the footage showing the dog jumping off the couch. Once smoke started to appear from the glove, a blanket that was on that couch then caught fire, and that led to heavy smoke and flames coming from the bay window of the home. This is in the suburb of Orleans. Firefighters quickly put out the fire and safely rescued the dog. No one else was inside at the time. The fire department says the incident's a reminder of the risk of lithium-ion batteries, and you should safely store items that contain them. The Supreme Court of Canada is going to hear an appeal from a coalition challenging the constitutionality of legislation that opens the door to big changes at Ontario Place. The Ontario government plans to redevelop the urban park on Toronto's waterfront, including an elaborate spa run by a private company. A challenge by the group called Ontario Place Protectors is based on the Rebuilding Ontario Place Act, which insulates state action from judicial scrutiny. The coalition adds exemptions from environmental and heritage laws and municipal noise regulations amount to a breach of public trust. Well, this year's Puppy Bowl is going to look a little different. The Animal Planet event on Super Bowl Sunday will feature 15 pups with special needs. And a special exhibition game will spotlight senior dogs that are available for adoption. It's the Team Oldies versus Team Goldies. In all, the Puppy Bowl is going to highlight 150 dogs from more than 70 shelters across North America. The games are coming up February 8th on Discovery, HBO Max, Animal Planet, and Discovery Plus. Not going to lie, Rick, this is my kind of sports.
It's always a good time at the Puppy Bowl.
But who's going to clean up?
Oh,
you don't want to be on the sidelines of the Puppy Bowl.
You do not want to be that. Sportsline, and we'll begin with the Leafs and Flyers. And after playing 12 years in Philadelphia, Scott Laughton made his long-awaited return to the city of brotherly love. But it was the home side that struck first. Travis Konechny beat Dennis Hildeby 55 seconds into the second to give Philly a 1-0 advantage. Konechny left the game after the second period with an upper body injury and did not return. After Laughton was saluted in a short tribute video in the first period, he responded with a shorthanded goal to tie the game at 1 with just under 6 minutes left in the third. And so we would need overtime. Rookie Easton Cowan ended one of the wildest overtimes of the season, scoring his 6th goal of the year, his first in OT, as Toronto beat the Flyers 2-1. Both teams failed to convert on breakaways in overtime, as both goalies made critical saves to keep the game going. Hildeby stopped 22 shots for the Leafs, who snapped a 5-game slide on the road and beat the Flyers for the 13th time in 14 games. The Sabres picked up their 12th win in 13 contests after dumping the Rangers 5-2. Jason Zucker scored on a lucky bounce midway through the second period, and it turned out to be the eventual game winner. It was his second game back in the lineup after a lengthy absence. Alexandre Texier had a hat-trick as Montreal whipped the two-time defending champion Panthers 6-2. It was the Habs' 3rd straight win and 7th in a row against Florida. Connor McDavid had a goal and an assist to extend his point streak to a career-high tying 17 games as the Oilers topped Winnipeg 4-3, handing the Jets their 11th straight loss. Defenseman Josh Manson had 2 goals and 2 assists and a fight as Colorado hammered the Senators 8-2. The Avalanche also tied a franchise record for goals in a period with 6 in the second. Patrick Kane scored twice to become the 50th player to reach 500 goals as he helped the Red Wings beat the Canucks 5-1. Elsewhere, Boston bumped off Calgary 4-1. Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to look different in 2026. Hamilton has released veteran defensive tackle Casey Sales, who was under contract for the upcoming season. 30-year-old spent the last 3 years with the Cats and earned Eastern Division All-CFL honors in 2023 and last season. Meantime, TSN is reporting punter Nick Constantino is set to sign with the Cleveland Browns after 2 years with the team. Jeff Reinbold is back in the CFL. The 68-year-old is joining the Ottawa Redblacks as their new special teams coordinator. Ottawa is the 7th CFL team that Reinbold will coach for, along with Hamilton, BC, Montreal, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and the old Las Vegas Posse. Infielder Ernie Clement, outfielder Dalton Varsho, and backup catcher Tyler Heineman have all agreed to 1-year contracts with the Blue Jays to avoid arbitration. Clement's deal is worth $4.6 million. Varsho will earn $10.75 million, and Heineman will make $1.2 million. Jays pitcher Eric Lauer did not reach a deal by yesterday's arbitration deadline, so he'll have a hearing to determine his contract. Toronto Rock visits San Diego tonight. The Canadian women's Olympic hockey team will be announced at 3:30 this afternoon, and the Real McCoys host Stony Creek tonight at 7:30 at the JL Greitmeyer Arena in Dundas.
Okay, it's 6:14 already, and it is Friday. We made it to the 9th morning of January. It's not going to feel like January today, but we'll talk about that coming up. Let's see if we can find anything going on in traffic. We can't see much there. That's the 403 and Waterdown Road. That's doing okay at the moment. That's our exclusive camera. Some MTOs. We'll start in St. Catharines at the QEW and 7th. As you can see, very light volume. That continues to be the way at the Red Hill Creek camera, Fairview Street toward Brant. Here's the Ford plant. Oh, not much going on there. and that's the 427 Gardner QEW combination. Nothing but just wet roads. It's still raining in Toronto. That rain has tapered off a little bit here, the west end of Lake Ontario in Hamilton. So we could still see some showers. Okay, let's get to what we have right now. Kicking off this Friday morning, temperature has just gone up by 2 degrees. We were 7 last hour. Now we're sitting at 9, but those winds are picking up as well. South 31 gusting to 43 at the moment. Right now it's just fairly cloudy. We have had some rain. For today, for school, we're looking at showers to be on and off throughout the morning, maybe even a thunderstorm. Quite possible, but it is going to get windy. That wind in Hamilton could gust to 90 for Niagara. Wind warning there could gust to 100 kilometers an hour, but a 14-degree high for the day today. Here's a look at the last 6 hours across southern Ontario. You can see how the rain, the yellow is heavy downpours, and there's even some embedded thunderstorms in that. So some showers for the day today, and then the cold front, that blue line, represents the cooler air pushing in, and that's going to happen later this afternoon. The winds will really pick up, as I said, Niagara possibly to 100 kilometers an hour, the rest of us to around 90. But look at these temperatures today. We'll get a little bit of clearing later on this afternoon. Some sunshine is possible, but anywhere from 11 to 12 to 14 degrees today for the Horseshoe. Tonight, yeah, it's going to get a lot chillier. We'll dip into the minus column, -1 to -2. It'll be partly cloudy, generally just a few clouds for Halton, Peel, Toronto. And then tomorrow, a lot cooler, but still mild. Now these temperatures are still above seasonal, 2, 3, and 4 for the day tomorrow. We'll start off with fairly cloudy conditions, and then we could get some mixing. We could get some snow, some rain later in the afternoon, but a little bit cooler, but still on the mild side. So out the door, Friday the 9th of January, it's cloudy, it is windy, and those winds are really going to pick up later today, but temperature is 9. And we'll look long range, of course, coming up. Annette, Rick.
Thank you, Brian. Coming up after the break, StatsCan set to release labor force figures for December this morning. We'll have that story and much more coming up in business. 6:19 on your Friday morning. In business news, we'll start with overseas trading this morning. The Canadian dollar down slightly to 72.10 cents U.S. Gold is up $22 an ounce, while oil is up 38 cents to $58.14 U.S. a barrel. In midday trading in Europe, markets are up with modest gains across the board.
Asian markets were up in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai, with Tokyo rising more than 800 points. The TSX closed up yesterday, 243 points. The Dow was up 270. The Nasdaq was down more than 100.
Statistics Canada is set to release labor force figures for December later on this morning. A survey of economists expects Canada lost 5,000 jobs last month, driving the unemployment rate up 1/10 of a point to 6.6% to end the year. The labor market has surprised economists with a strong run in recent months that saw employers add some 181,000 jobs from September through November. RBC economists are expecting December's data will show a steeper drop of 35,000 positions to offset unexpected gains in November. RBC is also calling for the unemployment rate to jump to 6.8% in December, but say the weakness is still largely contained to trade-exposed sectors of the economy.
Black Friday numbers were pretty golden for Vancouver-based clothing company Aritzia. Aritzia reported nearly $139 million in net income for the third quarter, up from just over $74 million the same time last year. Their CEO, Jennifer Wong, says they delivered another record-breaking Black Friday event. Sales in both Canada and the U.S. hit an all-time high, with nearly 60% of their locations hitting sales records. She attributes much of the success to the launch of Aritzia's app, marketing investments, and several new boutique openings.
Online gambling site FanDuel Canada is being fined $350,000 by the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario after suspicious betting activity on Czech table tennis games went unreported. The AGCO says the company accepted 144 bets from 3 Ontario player accounts that displayed warning signs of suspicious betting and match fixing between October 23rd and November 30th of 2024. A FanDuel spokesperson says the company was the only operator to proactively identify and report the activity, and it will continue to work with the AGCO to identify areas of concern. The regulator says the betting platform has 15 days to appeal the decision.
Taking a quick break right now, Brian has your spring-like forecast coming up and a look at traffic as well.
Time check, 6:24 Friday morning, the 9th of January, looking at the QEW. This is in St. Catharines. The camera's just east of Lake, so nothing to see. Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us on that. Top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge, still doing fine. Nothing there. Third line all the way through Lorne Park into Mississauga. We'll dip into the 403 at Dundas Street. Nope, no problems. As you can see, it's still raining here, getting some spray coming off the tires. Farther you go to the east from Hamilton, the more rain there is at the moment. But in Hamilton, it's tapered off a little bit. Check our temperature. Look at this temperature to start the morning here. 9 degrees is our temp at the moment. 8 degrees for Grimsby, 6 for Mississauga and Toronto. All right, let's talk seasonal. Why not? -2 for the daytime high and -9 for the overnight low. So that's where we figure we should be -9 for about this time of the morning, and we're +9 right now. Those are our sun times for the day. Gain another couple of minutes of daylight today. And those are our records for today. And yes, we are looking at some showers. Showers this morning, on and off. We should be 12 degrees by the first bell this morning. The temperature will climb to the high of 14. And then after school, it's going to dip as that cold front goes through. We'll get some sunshine. We'll get a little bit of clearing later on this afternoon. But it's going to be windy. Those winds are going to gust 90 kilometers an hour for a lot of the Horseshoe in southern Ontario, but possibly 100 kilometers an hour for Niagara. But 14 today. -2 tonight, wind chill -5, 3 tomorrow. Now that's still above seasonal, but a lot cooler. We'll get some clouds to start and then some mixing, some rain, some snow later in the day. -1 only for Sunday into Monday, and then we climb to the plus side by Tuesday, but fairly cloudy for next week. That's your forecast. And that, Rick.
Thank you, Brian. Buckle in for a science lesson on this Friday morning and open your textbooks. Astronomers have a new theory about a mysterious object known as Cloud 9.
So they say Cloud 9 appears to be a starless cloud dominated by dark matter, which is believed to make up 85% of the total matter in the universe and can be detected because of its gravitational effects. Cloud 9 was first discovered 3 years ago, but a new report says the object is the result of a failed galaxy due to these Hubble telescope pictures which show a lack of stars. Astronomers say the research could lead to a better understanding of dark matter, how galaxies are formed, and how the universe was formed.
Sounds like a job for pigs in space. Stay
Pigs in space!
Stay with us. More to come here on Morning Live.
We got to grab that Muppets clip.
Oh, absolutely.